Look, I didn't plan on making this video today. My eyes killing me. It's blurry. I can't see out of it. I'm seeing like, I don't know, stars. But here we are because Dom Kwok, he opened his mouth and he completely shattered everything we thought we knew about XRP's endgame. What he just revealed makes every other crypto channel look like they're playing checkers while Ripple been setting up a chess match for global financial domination. This entire time I've been in crypto, I've been tracking the whole ISO transition. Since day one, I've documented every regulatory capture, every institutional betrayal, every piece of evidence that the old guard is desperately trying to maintain control while new systems build around them. But what just dropped in the last 24 hours? It changes the entire battlefield. The Swift replacement narrative? That was apparently just the opening move. Because let me show you exactly what Dom just admitted on camera. Look at this clip. Let me pause it real quick. Dom literally said that XRP's story, it's no longer just about replacing Swift. He said, and I quote, "I don't think Swift is necessarily the major sort of thing at the moment." This is the same Dom who's been one of the most connected voices in the XRP ecosystem. And he just casually dismissed the narrative that's driven billion in speculation. Listen to this.
Sort of, like maybe the original premise. But I don't think that Swift is sort of the limiting factor at the moment. There's so many more use cases. We do a lot of work, of course, in developer education, developer advocacy for these different blockchains. And where we see the XRP ledger and Ripple really standing out is really on the institutional side, and really actually getting those financial use cases built out on the XRPL. We hosted a big hackathon with them, a couple actually last year. One in Hong Kong, a consensus, of course, and we hosted a big one together with them in Singapore around Apex, which is the annual developer conference. And we see a ton of really cool use cases, both being built out on the XRPL, but also with RLUSD, their new stablecoin, which is already one of the most successful stablecoins out there. So yeah, there's a ton of really cool stuff that can be done beyond Swift, and I think it doesn't necessarily have to center around that. And of course, there's so many different things that can be done, and we've already seen built. We have a lot of developers who are actually now raising funding for projects they're building on the XRPL, and I think there's a lot of renewed interest as well amongst investors for what's getting built on the XRP ledger, and in part because of the work we've been doing to get developers to the block. Really, what we see there is sort of a really land and expand play. So obviously, Ripple started with XRP. They sort of, grew that. And ultimately now what's really happening is they're actually acquiring a lot of different companies that are really deep in the, traditional finance space. So, they bought Hidden Road, for example, Treasury, a bunch of other players, which actually have, many, many different paying customers, and they're real businesses. And, the thesis